Harper Chapter 3. Wedding planners are trained to anticipate disasters, rain on outdoor ceremonies, missing bouquets, drunk uncles who think microphones are an invitation instead of a privilege. What we're not trained for is spilling an entire coffee over a complete stranger before 9 o'clock on a Tuesday morning. Unfortunately, life rarely consults my qualifications. By the time I reached Willow Wheat Bakery, I was already 10 minutes behind schedule. Not fashionably late, the kind of late where every passing minute feels like it's charging interest. My phone was wedged between my shoulder and ear while I balanced a leather portfolio beneath one arm. "Yes, Mia," I said, pushing open the bakery door with my hip. "I'll email the florist recommendations before lunch." The familiar scent of warm sourdough, cinnamon, butter, and freshly ground coffee wrapped around me. Instant comfort. Instant hunger. Instant reminder that I skipped breakfast. "I know your mother wants ivory roses," I continued, weaving carefully through the morning crowd. "But ivory and white photograph differently. I'll send comparison photos." Mia laughed through the speaker. "Trust me," I said. "We'll make everyone happy." We said our goodbyes. I slipped my phone into my handbag and exhaled. Step 1. Coffee. Step 2. Conquer the world. I turned toward the counter. Someone else turned at the exact same time. Collision. It happened so quickly my brain barely registered it. My shoulder met something solid. My coffee escaped my hand. For one suspended heartbeat, it floated between us. The gravity remembered its job. Coffee chose violence. It splashed spectacularly across a navy button-down shirt. Silence. A collective wince rippled through the bakery. "Well," I muttered. The stranger looked down at himself. Then, to my complete confusion, he smiled. Not an awkward one. A genuine, amused smile that transformed an already unfairly attractive face into something positively dangerous. "You know," he said calmly, "most people introduce themselves before throwing coffee at me." I blinked. Was he joking? "I'm trying a new networking strategy," I replied. "It's clearly memorable." His smile widened. "I'll give you points for originality." Only then did I actually look at him, his eyes. Warm hazel, bright with quiet amusement. Dark hair that looked like it had lost an argument with the wind. And somewhere in the middle of noticing all that, my brain reluctantly admitted something. Objectively speaking, the man was ridiculously attractive. Inconveniently so. "I'm guessing this wasn't intentional?" he asked. "I'd love to blame gravity." "You could blame me." "I was actually considering that." He laughed. A proper laugh. The kind that made people nearby glance over without knowing why. "I walked into you? You have very walk-into-able energy." "I have what?" "Walk-into-able. I'm almost afraid to ask what that means." "I'm still figuring it out myself." He shook his head, still smiling. "I've never been accused of having that particular quality." "Congratulations. It's a rare achievement. I'll put it on my resume." I crouched down to rescue my notebook from the floor. At the exact same moment, he did too. Thunk. Our foreheads bumped. We both froze. I closed my eyes. Seriously. He rubbed his forehead. A laugh escaped me before I could stop it. It was quick, accidental, entirely his fault. "There it is," he said. "What?" "The laugh." "I don't know what you're talking about." "You smiled too." "I absolutely did not." "You absolutely did." I stood, smoothing invisible wrinkles from my skirt with far more dignity than I actually possessed. "You seem very confident." "I've had practice." "I can tell." Before either of us could continue, he reached for a stack of napkins sitting beside the condiment station. His elbow caught the holder instead. The entire stack exploded across the floor like white confetti. He stared at the mess, then looked back at me. I'm choosing to believe that never happened. I burst out laughing. "I thought you said I was the disaster." "I underestimated the situation." "You absolutely did." The barista hurried over. "Oh my goodness. Are you guys all right?" "We're fine," I said immediately. "It was my fault." He looked at me. "I'm pretty sure we managed that together. You don't have to take half the blame." "I know, but I will." That was unexpectedly decent. The barista insisted on replacing both coffees. While she disappeared behind the espresso machine, an awkward silence settled between us. Not uncomfortable, just curious. "So," he said eventually, "is your morning always this exciting?" "I certainly hope not." "I was hoping you'd say yes." "Why?" "I'd like to mentally prepare if we ever cross paths again." There it was. Not flirting exactly, just enough possibility to make my stomach perform a small, unnecessary somersault. "Our replacement coffees," the barista announced cheerfully. I accepted mine with a grateful smile. He took his, still wearing evidence of our collision across his shirt. "I really am sorry," I said. "I know. You should probably send me your dry cleaning bill." I could. He pretended to consider it, but then I'd lose my favorite story this week. I laughed again. Who was this man? And why was he making it so difficult to remain professionally grumpy? The stranger smiled one last time. "Try not to declare war on anyone else's coffee today." "I'll do my best. I have faith." "You shouldn't." He laughed again. "See you around, maybe." Then he walked out of the bakery. I stood there for another moment, staring at the door. I hadn't even asked his name, which was ridiculous, because who has a 5-minute conversation with an incredibly attractive stranger, spills coffee on him, and then forgets to ask his name? Apparently, me. I collected my replacement coffee, thanked the barista again, and headed back to my car. By the time I got home that afternoon, my social battery had officially clocked out the door. I kicked off my shoes by the front door, dropped my handbag onto the kitchen counter, changed into an oversized sweatshirt and leggings. Then made myself a cup of tea because I'd caused enough damage with coffee for one day. I had just curled up on the couch when my phone buzzed. "Coffee boy, important question." I smiled before I even opened the chat. "This better be life-changing." His reply came almost instantly. "If someone accidentally spilled coffee all over your shirt, would you forgive them?" I laughed. That's oddly specific. Hypothetically. Let's just say a woman walked into me this morning. Sounds painful. Mostly for my shirt. Brand new navy blue button-down, too. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. Navy blue? I frowned. That was a weird coincidence. That's funny. Why? Because I may have accidentally spilled coffee on someone this morning, too. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. A photo landed in our chat. I tapped it open. A navy blue button-down shirt shows coffee splashed across the front. My heart stopped. No way. I zoomed in. The stain, the fabric, even the bakery cup sitting on the table beside it. Oh my. I sat up so fast I nearly spilled my tea. Me. "You." The typing bubble appeared immediately. "Coffee boy? Planner girl?" I stared at my screen, then burst out laughing. An actual, full-body laugh. I couldn't believe it. "Me were the guy from the bakery?" "Coffee boy? I'm starting to think the universe has a strange sense of humor." I shook my head, still smiling. "I offered to pay your dry cleaning bill." "You did. Why didn't you say anything?" "Because I didn't know it was you until about 30 seconds ago." Fair enough. I couldn't exactly argue with that. Another message popped up. "Seeing as we officially met now," a pause. Then, "I'm Maddox." I looked at his name for a second. Maddox. It fit him. Warm. Easy. The sort of name that sounded like it belonged to someone who smiled as often as he did. I smiled back at my screen. "Me?" "Harper." His reply came almost instantly. "Maddox? Nice to officially meet you, Harper. For reasons I couldn't quite explain, I was suddenly very glad I'd spilled that coffee."